Digimon World DS was a game that started a new era for Digimon games. But the question remains, was it really any good, or is it nostalgia speaking when I look back fondly upon it? This is precisely the question this video will attempt to answer. Released in 2006, the game may not have the best Metacritic score, but it sure as hell amassed one impressive cult following. Nowadays, some 17 years later, people like myself look back fondly at the game, especially after seeing its legacy. See, despite its localized title suggesting it's another entry in the Digimon World series, like Digimon World 1, 2, etc., its original name is actually Digimon Story. This is the one game that started the Digimon Story sub-series, which got its latest game, Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, in the late 2010s, and which has another entry in the works. On the more personal side of things, Digimon World DS was a game I loved as a preteen, and it might quite possibly be my favorite DS game from back then that doesn't have Pokemon in its title. It's just one of those games that I often think about, and recently I decided to find out why and share my findings with you all. The result is this behemoth of a video, a complete retrospective of the game that spawned a whole sub-series in this beloved franchise. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Well, kinda. Before we start the game, we're given the option to choose our character and name them. P-R-E-Z-M... Wait, what? I can only choose a 5-letter name? Why? I'm sorry, Richards, Vivians, and countless other folks with longer names, you're just not welcome in the digital world. Once we create our guy though, we're thrown right into the game. It starts with us entering an empty classroom full of computers. The first thing I want to say is that the art style is absolutely gorgeous, and the major reason why I used to love this game back in the day. Even nowadays, I just can't get enough of all this pixelated goodness. The music here is equally relaxing and quite iconic for this title. But anyway, it turns out our goal is to use one of the machines to investigate a rumor about mysterious monsters from computer that fight alongside humans. We look it up on the interwebs, and soon enough we get an email asking simply, "Want to open the door to the digital world?" As it often happens, our guy gets sucked right into the computer after getting the message. We land in a forest and see Mamemon and Clavis Angemon in a mock battle for 5 newbies. Well, the second one says he's called CV Angemon. Unfortunately, I'm job hunting and now I can't stop thinking that his name is Curriculum Vitae Angemon. God damn it. Before long though, they all travel through a portal. Being the reckless kid that we are, we follow them. We land in a very pretty area, and Terriermon explains to us about Tamers and the Union, which is our next destination. On the way there, some dude bumps into us and... What do you mean, watch where I'm going? I was standing still, dude! From him, we learn 2 interesting bits of information. There are around 30 Tamers in the world, and he shows us his Digifarm. No, this is not an innuendo, we actually see grassy fields with Digimon walking. After Kazuya leaves, we enter the Union. Angemon tells us that there are 5 Tamer ranks: Normal, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, plus a special Tamer King rank for the best of the best. Drawn in by the promise of rare goodies, we accept to give this Tamer thing our best. A researcher called Mr. Gure also gets excited and proudly proclaims we have Spunk. Sir, please, I'm a kid. Go get excited about adult Spunk instead. We then get to choose our first partner. Since I'm incredibly indecisive, I let my girlfriend make all these starting choices. She chose Koromon and named it, get this, Korokoro. Original, I know. Except my dumbass mistyped it, and now I'm stuck with Korokorn. Actually original, I know. Also, why do Digimon get 8 whole letters in their names and I only got 5? Pretty sure this classifies as some sort of prejudice. After getting our partner, we get a call and head back to CV Angemon, who introduces us to Azulongmon, our observer. This guy looks sick. Basically, all the ranks have a Digimon overseeing the Tamers within the rank. Azulongmon oversees all normal Tamers. And I just want to talk about the system for a minute. It works fine when there's like 30 Tamers with 5 or so under each observer, but if the Digimon plan on expanding by inviting more Tamers, I highly doubt this is a sustainable model. As badass as you look as a Longmon, I doubt you can handle 100 newbies at the same time. The Observer gives us a mission to go get scan data for one Digimon so that we can get a Digifarm in return. Gotta love the digital world giving out free real estate, huh? We're then finally free to explore and talk to people. Some of the highlights of my 5-minute journey include finding out about Tamer Points, which are basically a passive way to get rewards, and finding a place we need to get a code into. Oh, and Kamemon throws shade at us for being normal rank. I'll show you who's gotta be better, Kamemon, just give me 20 hours of gameplay and tons of grinding. The city also has some shops for Digifarm stuff and items, but nothing worth padding this video's length with. Throughout this video, I will be re-exploring a lot of this stuff. Turns out this is a reactive world, meaning that people change what they talk about every time the story advances. For the sake of the length of the video, I won't be sharing any more of these flavor texts, but some highlights include a girl who's often talking about dating people for some reason, and this lady who's simply obsessed with Numemon and always talks about it. It's hilarious and frankly a bit creepy. We then finally head to the forest and things go wrong almost immediately. Akalomon and Gaomon both rush my way asking for help against Goburimon. We valiantly step up with our Korokorn, only to remember one small problem. But worry not, as Gaomon has the solution. A damn encyclopedia on battles. Be right back, gotta read all this.
Many minutes later.
I'm sure glad that Goburimon waited for us to finish reading. So basically this is a turn-based JRPG. Battles have 5 zones, as you can see by the footage right now. Your attacks can reach anywhere from 1 to 5 zones. Multiple enemies can be in different zones, and some bosses can occupy multiple zones. And yes, they take damage from each zone you hit if you manage to hit multiple. Similarly, your Digimon are also bound by zones. If you put your Digimon side by side, they give each other stat bonuses, but can more easily be hit by the many attacks that hit 3 side by side zones. The turn order is determined by the speed stat of each Digimon, and you can see the order in the top screen alongside information on your crew and an overview of the field. The last thing I want to say regarding the actual battle is that the animations for the moves are unfortunately quite basic, which is a stark contrast to the very detailed and incredible visuals this game has overall, especially stuff like the overworld sprites and the enemy sprites. But oh well, nothing's perfect. Once you win the fight, you gain money, food for your farm, and EXP. You may also drop an item. You may have noticed on the screens I'm using to show the post-battle drops that the EXP is divided by type. This Goburimon, for example, gave me 2 Beast type EXP. I'll explain why this is relevant very soon. Done with the content of that encyclopedia, I'm sure we won't have to do this again anytime soon, right? Ah, goddammit, this one's even bigger.
Many unbearable hours later.
After saving Gaomon, it gave us scan data for Poyomon as a reward. Azalongmon then gives us a farm, and wanting to thank us, Kalomon decides to work there. This encyclopedia was Kalomon explaining how the Digifarm works. Basically, Digimon placed on a farm grow automatically. We can have multiple farms up to 4, and each farm can have a specialty such as water-based farm. Some Digimon prefer specific farms and grow better there. They also eat, and you can get food from the farms daily, as well as from doing other stuff like fighting and I guess killing and skinning Digimon. Ran out of food and your Digimon all starved to death. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot this was a kid's game. No, instead they just lose some stats and friendship, I don't know. You can also place goods in your farm, which the Digimon can use to train specific stats. But perhaps the most important function of the farm menu is to convert data into new Digimon, like the Spoilemon here, who I named Spooks. And speaking of conversing, you basically have to meet Digimon multiple times to get scan data of said Digimon. Once it reaches 100%, usually in increments of like 10 to 20% every encounter, you can scan the Digimon. But if you accumulate more data and scan at say 500%, the Digimon comes with extra stats. After getting our new Digimon, Azalongmon gives us a new mission to save Gabumon who went missing in Data Forest. So let's get to work. We quickly find Gabumon, who lost a Novice Blade and is afraid of going to look for it because Ogremon are known to inhabit the forest. He then gives us a brilliant idea. We are unable to say no, so we're like, ah, heck yeah, I guess, sure. So off we go. Data Forest is a very straightforward zone, turns out. No dead ends, no nothing, just a pleasant straight shot from the beginning to the end. The Digimon we fight are nice for beginners, especially Goburimon if you can be patient enough to get its scan data, which is definitely not my case. At the end of the zone, we find the boss. How do I know it's the boss? Well, because of this tile right here. Every time you see one, it means you're about to be torn a new asshole by someone. And that surely would have been the case in the Zogramon fight had I not separated my two party members, as he had an attack that hit both zones. Thankfully though, I did not only that, but I also bought healing items, so the fight went by extremely easily. We got the Novice Blade and return to Gabumon, who lets us keep it as a reward. Each Digimon can equip 3 things: a sword, which we got, an armor, and an accessory, all of which raise stats. Digimon can also have traits which give them passive bonuses and can be acquired mainly by digivolving. As you can see, each Digimon has the option to become multiple things really, and it depends on whether or not you meet the requirements. Some, like Horomon, Chuagomon, require only level ups. Others require a lot more, like friendship, specific stats, specific EXP type amounts, like the beast we got earlier, and even items like Digi-Eggs for the armor evolution. Sometimes your level cap won't be enough to reach the required level for a Digi-Evolution, and as such you'll have to degenerate. Basically, you return your Digimon to a previous form, but keep some of the stats from evolved forms and gain an increased level cap. Throughout this retrospective, you'll likely see my party change quite a bit because of this constant back and forth. I won't go through all changes for the sake of the video's length, but keep an eye out on battle footage and you'll see them. Oh, and we also get a call from Calumon with our first farm reports. Better get used to these because Calumon will be calling very often. Turns out we get that every single in-game day. As we have no one in the farm, our report this time consists of 0 growth, 0 live event results, 0 goods, and 50 kilos of meat gained, probably due to my actions in slaughtering the forest folks. I won't be showing the farm reports here either, but you need to know they exist, mainly because they will be annoying you quite a lot. We get back to the Digifarm and Azulongmon contacts us saying that it's time we move on to Bronze rank. I have no clue what gave him that idea considering we've been at this Digimon Tamer business for less than an hour, but hey, I'll take it. But to get there, we need to become a noble tamer in the eyes of our Digifolk. What does that mean exactly? Well, it's up to us to find out. Conveniently, Calumon explains that Digimon in the farm will often require favors. It's this game's version of quests. In fact, Calumon has one for us. The Digimon is desperately craving cake, understandable really, and wants us to go to a new map called Training Peak to get some. Given I have nothing better to do, I decide to go. Training Peak is a really cool area actually. It has very epic sounding music and plenty of bird and machine Digimon. Some examples are Patamon, Tokomon, and Kotemon. Turns out our first foray into Training Peak is not too extensive as we find the Digicake in the very second screen on the map. However, as soon as we try to pick it up, 2 tamers, Kane and Tomomi, show up and demand the cake. Kane even tells us to shut up, to which Tomomi reacts like, "Wow Kane, you're so cool and manly." The bar in the digital world is really at an all-time low, lads. Now, I'll have you know you can mess with me, you can mess with my Digimon, but you do not mess with my cake. But before I can kick the ass of the Mega Kabutorimon and Squidward, sorry I forgot the actual name of the Digimon, we get saved by a third newcomer, a gold ranked tamer named Yuji who has a Cyberdramon. He tells us that the chill folks are bad tamers that everyone's tired of. Our guy's reaction? Yeah, I've never felt so represented in a video game before now. We grill Yuji for a bit and then leave, heading back to our Digifarm. Over there we deliver the cake, but before anything else can happen, an alarm goes off indicating that a foreign body has entered the premises. Said entity turns out to be a Black Agumon who's an independent young Digimon who don't need no human. It calls our Digimon Weakmon, which offends us so much we tell him to stop calling our guys Weakmons. Diplomacy, right? He tells us to go fight him in Training Peak if we want him to stop. After he leaves, Calumon tells us he's in shock. Dude, same. Only one thing we can do, follow Black Agumon and protect the pride of our Digimans. This time we go all the way through Training Peak. This map is a lot less straightforward than the last, but still not bad. It has places to drop from, a locked door, and even branching paths. We got Kotemon for the party, and I name it Josh, before finally getting through the locked door and finding Black Agumon, who we actually beat pretty easily. Gomamon's a lot tankier than Agumon, so it's a great thing the attacks were focused on the former. After the fight, Black Agumon tells us he'll be back to fight us and takes his leave. We are thankfully teleported back to the Union, where Azulongmon congratulates us on being acknowledged as excellent by our Digimon and grants us a new rank, Bronze Tamer. Whoa! We then meet the next observer. Wow, we can't just comment on people's back trees like that. To get to Silver rank, we must complete a single task. Find a missing researcher named Phil. We also get a new farm and I select Dragon type. After the goal gets us, we immediately start asking people about Phil. We quickly find out that his sister Ellie is currently looking for him in a place called Steamy Jungle. Before we head there though, we do quests. Gotsumon wants an autograph from a legendary tamer called Toma. Now, I'll be doing quite a lot of quests throughout this retrospective, and again, for the sake of the video's length, I'll not tell you about all of them aside from rare exceptions. What I can say though is that most of them are really mundane and frankly quite boring. The 3 playing right now as I speak are some of the exceptions. We help Toma, Masaru, and Yoshino, who turn out to be the protagonists from Digimon Data Squad. Pretty cool cameo. After getting through the quests, we travel to Steamy Jungle. The music here seems like it could have come straight out of a Tarzan or Lion King video game, which I love. And the Digimon we encounter are quite unique too. Some bug like Wormmon and Floramon, and some beasts like Theriamon. I love all of these, mind you, so this is a wet dream for me. The area also has quite a few branching paths, but honestly, all of them from here on out do, so I won't be commenting on the map layouts anymore. Just know that while no map is terribly confusing, you will end up picking the wrong path here and there, and you have to pay attention because some maps have big pointless loops. But those are few and far between, thankfully. Soon enough, we arrive at the boss, Arukenimon. Turns out it has Ellie in its sights and wants to kill her because Ellie is cuter than Arukenimon. That's it. Going full Snow White evil queen over here, I see. We quickly jump into action with a phrase that fully indicates that we mean business. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't come to that, shall we? The battle starts and I just want to take a moment to say something I haven't mentioned to this point. How awesome the boss music is. I love this game's soundtrack. The fight overall goes pretty easily as the boss doesn't use its multi-area attack. After saving Ellie, we find out that Phil has likely gone to an area called the Forbidden Land, but Ellie has no idea what the address is, which is why she's been searching around. We thankfully get teleported back home, and Andromon tells us that the Black Agumon we visited earlier was bragging about going to the Forbidden Land multiple times. Well, time to go see him again. Except things are different this time around in Training Peak. The game accounted for the fact that we would go through an old area again and changed a lot of encounters. This highly pleases me because it makes the backtracking quite a bit more interesting as there are new challenges to face. The old Digimon are still there of course, but now they are often accompanied by Gardramon, Tapirmon, or even Aquilamon. These new additions are also level 15 or so, giving me very needed extra EXP, items, etc. The trip to Black Agumon goes surprisingly well, and we find... wait a minute, Dark Tyrannomon? Turns out Black Agumon trained so hard after it got its butt kicked that it digivolved. Not that the Digivolution worked though. This was a pretty easy fight again, but badass nonetheless. I mean, just look how cool his sprite is! And look at those leg muscles, this guy is awesome! Unfortunately, my awe of his sprite doesn't save him, and he goes down effortlessly to our team of rookies. He then states the Forbidden Land is actually Chrome Mine, but knowing the address is not enough to get there. We need Miracle Digi-Egg from Pandamon at Sheer Valley. So off to Sheer Valley we go. The music in the valley is oddly calm, considering that we are walking on bridges without any sort of railing protecting us from a presumably large fall to our deaths. I mean, come on engineers, why would you design something like this? The layout is particularly annoying, but at least the area has some really cool Digimon in it. Most of them either Dragon or Holy types. Some examples are Tyrannomon, Airdramon, Dinohumon, and Renamon, which I end up adding to the team. Eventually we got to Pandamon. Now, don't let its looks fool you. It may look cute, it may not be a boss fight, it may hold the key to progressing the storyline. However, Pandamon is the worst Digimon in this game, with a cruelty and heartlessness that has yet to be matched by anyone. As soon as you talk to him, he's like, nah dude, no Miracle DE for you, I'm stumped with a question. The question? Amongst Patamon, Agumon, and Gatomon, who doesn't belong in the group? That's it, nothing else is said. Naturally, I pick Patamon because he has wings and the other two don't. Seems logical, right? Well, not to this asshole it doesn't. That's right, for failing to answer correctly, we get teleported all the way back to the beginning of the most annoying area yet. Screw you, Pandamon. You know, whatever the villain of this game ends up being, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if it just got evil because Pandamon pulled some crap like this on them. Worst part is, Pandamon didn't even know the right answer, so how could we know we were wrong? But at the end of the day, what else is there to do, right? I hadn't saved before talking to the guy as there was no boss icon, so I have no choice but to walk all the way back. We do that, grab the Miracle DE and make our way back home. At least we can take comfort in the fact that we won't have to go back there for a while. Ah, fuck's sake, Gotsumon, I'll throw you to the wolves! Gotsumon saved, we finished 2 other quests, including the final Data Squad quest, until the postgame anyway, and we also got a Doraemon scan data from Mr. Guri. I added to the party and named it Star. Finally, we try to head over to Chrome Mine, only to find out that the doorway isn't actually opening. Terriermon then inspects our Digi-Egg and figures out that it's a Digi-F of Miracles, meaning it's a fake with 2 Fs for a double fuck you. We call Pandamon, who says he must have been conned by Platinum Sukamon, who lives in a place called the Drain Tunnel. So off we go to beat up a literal pile of silvery shit for this Digi-Egg, though I'm unsure if we actually should get it now. The smell must be horrid by this point. Drain Tunnel has a very somber and generic sounding music, which I'm not a big fan of. In fact, I'm not a big fan of this entire map. I just hate the sewer aesthetic in general. Digimon-wise, this area has a lot of Aquan types like Otamamon and machine types like Hagurumon and especially Sukamon. So many Sukamon. Thankfully, we got lucky and managed to quickly find Platinum Sukamon. Again, the fight is rather easy. Some attacks hit hard, but nothing some healing items can't handle. I actually make use of my buffs in this fight, which highlights something I hadn't noticed. I have no way to tell which of my guys is buffed and which isn't, nor do I know how long a buff lasts, if they are stackable, etc. Kind of a bummer, really. As soon as we get back to the city, we head out to Chrome Mine because, as they say, no time like the present, right? The visual and theme of the area are pretty cool, but the music is the same as Drain Tunnel, which is a major bummer. This won't be the last case in which soundtrack is reused between maps, mind you. The Digimon you can find here are all dark types, including stuff like Bakemon, Viomon, and my beloved Impmon. We got lucky and managed to quickly make our way to the boss icon. There we find Phil, but it turns out he's been captured by a machined Ramon, who also captures us. Some backup we are, huh? Phil tells us not to fight because it's a Mega Digimon and we stand no chance. Fair enough. But when all hope seems lost, Dark Tyrannomon arrives to save the day. Oh, well fuck. With no choice left, we sit and play the role of a hostage. During our talk with our captor, it's made clear that he's acting under orders and we got the first hint of a big baddie in the story, Unknown D. There are so many jokes I can make with this dumb name, but I'll skip on them and be the bigger person. As big as my dick! Turns out the big baddie told Machine Ramon to kidnap Phil to learn the secrets of his research into digivolving without humans. Phil then's like, oh, I can make it stronger if you let the protagonist go, to which our moron of a captor agrees. Phil implants a chip in him and he degenerates into Skull Greymon. We might be unable to handle Omega, but surely an ultimate is within our reach. And with that renewed confidence, we hop into the fight. And let me tell you, this is considerably harder than anything that came before it. Skull Greymon's fight has a few interesting points to it. To start with, this is the first boss that spans multiple tiles as seen even in the overview on the top screen. That means if we have an attack that hits 3 tiles at a time, we can potentially deal 3 times the damage to this boss in a single turn, as each tile counts as 1 hit. AoE attacks are broken, or so I'd say, but in reality, given how much I struggle in this fight, I'd say that these multi-tile bosses are balanced around being hit many times. At the end of the fight, pretty much only my champion level Digimon survived. But struggle or not, we did it, and Skullgreymon learned to never mess with us. Well, for the like 2 seconds that he was around before being deleted anyway. At base, Phil gives us the return chip he used to degenerate Machine Draymon, unlocking degeneration for our team. We then get promoted to Silver Rank and meet the Silver Observer Baihumon. Let me just say, this guy looks badass. Our mission this time is as follows. There is a Pagumon going around that refuses to chum up with any famous, and the Observer wants us to give it a shot. If we manage to befriend and raise the Digimon well, we become Gold Rank. Upon entering the farm, we meet Pagumon. As expected, the Digimon proves to be a challenge. He has an attitude, says he needs no one, and should not pretend we know him or something. Man, usually teenage angst comes in, well, teenagers, but it's my first time seeing it manifest in a baby. Pagumon then complains that the farm is too cramped, which, excuse you, it's not my fault, I'm broke and I can't afford expansions, and demands we take him to Steamy Jungle to have fun. As is to be expected, things go wrong literally as soon as we arrive, with Pagumon deciding to run off to play. You would think we'd keep him on a leash or something, but no, we thought it was a great idea to get a rebellious baby and bring it to a dangerous location without having a way to keep it in check. We run after Pagumon and find him in pain because he ate what Calumon thinks is a poison flower. See kids, this is why you shouldn't stuff everything in your mouth. Calumon tells us that the only way to heal Pagumon is with an antidote nut, also found in Steamy Jungle. Pagumon protests, saying we'll abandon him like all the others and that he'll just endure the pain and get out of them himself, but we reassure him that we will be back. Not that he believes it anyway. On the way to find the nut, we encounter new Digimon like Grismon and Wergarurumon Black. Honestly, it's great that locations get revamps in Digimon you can find when you revisit them for the story. I know I said this before, but it really helps keep things fresh. We get the nut and bring it to Pagumon, who's overjoyed that we returned. Says that he's never met anyone like us and that he thinks he'll like us. Quite an 180 in attitude, honestly. After we get back, Ellie visits our Digifarm. She spots Pagumon, the two talk, she shows him her treasure, a star piece from Packet Swamp, and finally he eats her treasure. See Ellie, this is what you get for calling him weird. Despite him being in the right because Ellie had insulted him, we scold him and he apologizes, promising to find a new one with our help. Packet Swamp is not a nice map. The area has the same music as Steamy Jungle, and reused songs are already not a great first impression. It's also very confusing to traverse as it has a teleportation gimmick. Basically, the fast spinning twisters teleport you to slow spinning twisters in a one-way trip. This results in one of those self-call building teleportation mazes from Pokemon that I know you all loved as kids. Plenty of dead ends and loops to be found, but if I'm being honest, none of this would have been that bad if not for the random encounters. Again, let me remind you that they show up every few steps, but the real problem is the monsters in Packet Swamp are vicious. Well, a combination of them specifically. Take a look at this fight. Why the fuck are Chill Blossomon harder than any boss fight I fought before? What sort of bullshit is Spiral Flower? Sorry, I lost my composure there for a second. Regarding the story, the Gotsumon from Packet Swamp were banished from their own settlement, or whatever we call their living space, by Shogun Gekomon. As such, the Gotsumon who make the sword pieces can't actually help us, so it falls upon our shoulders to try and persuade Shogun to let them return. Sounds easy enough, right? I mean, I'm sure Shogun Gekomon is a reasonable and level-headed Digimon that can absolutely be reasoned with, yes? Well, fuck. First, he launches 3 of his Gekomon minions to attack us, and once we easily take care of those guys, the big boy himself attacks us. And this is not me being prejudiced, he's actually big for this game standard, occupying 2 zones. The fight against him is rough. I love how bosses seem to have had a difficulty spike with Skullgreymon, but no matter how tough this fight is, it's still not as bad as the damn Blossomon because no attack is ever gonna be as OP as Spiral Flower. Sorry, recovering my composure again. Basically, Shogun Gekomon deals a lot of damage, at least to my mostly champion level Digimon, and has many dangerous attacks. One hits 3 zones side by side, which sucks because I pretty much have to leave my 3 mons together to heal them with dual or triple zone heals. Another one, which mind you is literally called Compulse Hurler, meaning he literally throws his shit your way, hits a single target twice for big damage. But hey, we dealt with Spiral Flower, so we can deal with this. Can you tell I'm traumatized? After struggling a lot and using all my items, we get through the fight. Shogun Gekomon apologizes and agrees to share the land with the Gotsumon, who give us a big star piece as a reward for helping them out. We bring it back to Ellie, who's very happy. Pagomon in turn becomes very happy as well about his good deed, so much so that he wants to do more good things. And just as our character's commenting exactly what I was thinking, about how much Pagomon's grown, a mysterious voice claims that it's ridiculous to think that this is growth. Alphamon then shows up, revealing itself to be the source of the voice. Turns out the Digimon is one of the guardians of the digital world and looks badass as heck. Too bad his stance is anything but badass. He thinks Digimon shouldn't associate with people and that their only way to grow is by digivolving and becoming strong alone. The guy pretty much hates humans, something that we comment on shortly after they leave. Gee, I wonder if he's a villain. Shortly afterwards, we go to rest at the farm, but as soon as we enter, Phil visits us and the music changes to this. Whenever this music plays, you know shit's going down. And yes, Phil confirms that assessment by telling us that Ellie's been kidnapped by Devimon. The Digimon also left us a message saying that if we want the girl back, we need to take Pagomon to the drain tunnel. As Cage the Elephant once said, there really is no rest for the wicked. Before we head to Drain Tunnel though, we do some quests and grind a bit first, mainly due to how scary Spiral Flower was, and we get a whole new party. Metal Greymon, Kyukimon, Sunflowmon, Ankylomon, and a new member, Hookmon, who I named Peon. And then finally we head to Drain Tunnel. The area has received some upgrades in terms of Digimon, with the addition of some powerhouses like Seedramon and Hookmon. We can even find Platinum Sukamon, the boss we fought way back when. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Goes to show just how much better we get as we progress through the game. Overall though, Drain Tunnel's revisited form is a lot easier than Packet Swamp. In that map, I felt severely underpowered and underleveled, even with my 2 ultimates at the end of my grind. The 3 hits attack the Blossomon and later I'd find out Togemon 2 have is just too powerful. Here in Drain Tunnel, I struggled with nothing of the sort, even from the new Digimon. We then reach the boss, Devimon, who's in the same place Platinum Sukamon once was. Devimon says he was told by Unknown D to beat us. He has no idea why, but he'll gladly do it because Unknown D will lead Digimon to greatness. Never mind the fact that this happens right after Alphamon's encounter with us, hell no. Or the fact that D most likely stands for Unknown Digimon. Never mind all that, we still have no idea who this mysterious enemy is. But we do know we have to defend ourselves, so we fight. As the fight starts, I'm extremely excited to show off Metal Greymon's new incredible move, Giga Blaster. Take a look at this! Well crap. Jokes aside though, this might as well have been a random battle. Devimon brought 2 friends who died in 1 to 2 hits, and Devimon itself was very frail. The only noteworthy parts of the fight was the fact that Devimon confused my entire team, leading to this. After losing, Devimon says Pagomon will change his tune real quick once he remembers his past life, and that he will always be a stray Digimon. We then have the following realization. Pagomon is most likely the Black Agumon we used to fight. Before we can say anything though, Ellie reappears and Pagomon asks for croquettes. Did I even pronounce that right? And how does he know what those are? Are croquettes just common food in the Digimon world? And even more surprisingly, Ellie knows how to make them. All's well that ends well, I guess. After the croquettes, Baihumon calls and asks to see Pagomon, so off we go to the Tamer Union. Pagomon claims to be happy with us, so we get to stick with him for a while longer. We ask about Unknown D and they reply that they are still investigating. We also ask about Alphamon and he explains that Alphamon used to be with the Observers in building a better digital world and even used to be besties with Curriculum Vitae Angemon. However, they couldn't see eye to eye when it came to bringing humans to this world, so Alphamon bailed. Baihumon makes it abundantly clear though that Alphamon is a good guy and that we should forgive whatever he said that offended us. Yeah, right. I'll have you know I'm very good at holding grudges. On our way out, we find Kane and Tomomi again. Remember those guys? Turns out Tomomi was Pagomon's previous tamer. He claims he disliked her because she always made him just fight. The bad tamer duo reports that Pagomon's useless and she was glad to be rid of him because Digimon are meant to only be strong and fight. We defend him and the duo walks off laughing at the, quote, weakest tamer and Digimon combo. My feelings are so hurt I don't think I can ever come back from this. Still, we put on a brave face and tell Pagumon to not mind the idiots. However, he's clearly bothered and says that he thinks he was a lot stronger in the previous life. He then asks for some time to think by himself when we get back to the Digifarm, which we obviously agree to. Pagumon, I left you alone for a few minutes, damn it! As Calumon says, our little protege is gone, so we need to rush after him in a new area called Mangrove Woods. I actually really like this area. It's a tropical looking place with a very upbeat song, making it a joy to travel through. Birds like Kokatorimon and Penguinmon, as well as Aquan like Kamemon, all inhabit the location. Altogether, this was a pretty chill experience, and again, no Blossomon tier enemies. And yes, Blossomon is now my frame of reference for incredibly busted random encounters. We make it to the boss and we find Pagumon being bullied by 2 Penguinmon, 1 Kiwimon, and the ringleader Deramon. Naturally, we step in to save him. First up is the trio of lackeys who go down very easily. In fact, so does Deramon. Like, I normally comment on these fights, but there's nothing remarkable about either of these fights, which is probably why there's 2 in a row, illusion of difficulty or something. After winning, Deramon apologizes and says that he'll never do it again. The only reason he did so is that Pagumon reminded him of a Digimon that used to bully him. Thanks for the explanation, Deramon, that sure makes it okay. When the group leaves, Pagumon mentions that the Digimon that bullied them was probably him in his old form. Turns out the poor fella's been remembering some stuff and just didn't want to bother us. We, ever the exemplary tamer, say that he should have come to us and promise to help him figure his past out. The 2 mend their relationship and ride off into the sunset. And by sunset I mean back to town to search for a place Pagumon has been seeing in his dreams, a mountain range full of fossils. And through my ability to edit the video and remove all the wrong people I talked to in the city, we quickly find the guy with the information we need. Yuji, the gold rank tamer who helped us against the cake thieves back in the day. He tells us that the place might be Ancient Canyon, so off we go. The area is pretty cool, honestly. The music is epic sounding, there are lots of cliffs to climb up and down via ropes, and the place has plenty of powerful beast types like Apemon and Minotauromon, also Dino Digimon like Growlmon, which I love. Nothing too challenging either, just challenging enough to make us sweat a bit in some fights, exactly how it should be. Eventually we get to the end. The bosses are interesting. Turns out Digimon World DS lets me achieve my lifelong dream of, let me check my notes, invading a senile couple's home and beating them up. Surely this can't be right? Oh no, it is. Since Digimon and Babamon are, well, super frail looking, this will be a piece of cake. What the fuck? My surprise quickly faded into relief though as I realized that was Babamon's most powerful move, and she just didn't use it again. It was a red herring of sorts. Digimon did use the same move at the end of the fight, but again, all I had to do was heal all 3 at the same time and keep attacking. Scary, but not threatening. We beat the duo and they stop acting senile and tell us everything we need to hear. Basically, Ancient Canyon was once known as File Island. Then an evil Chimeramon appeared and screwed everything up. A tamer and their Antilomon showed up and bravely stood against the Chimeramon, only to get defeated. Losers. We ask what happened to the area, and the duo claims that it should have been erased from the digital world alongside Chimeramon, and I don't understand why, as the tamer failed to defeat the Digimon, but whatever. They say for some reason the area came back, and so probably did Antilomon, in the form of Pagumon. That's why he saw the area in the dream, because it was his one regret. The place he fell and was linked to. We thank the duo and leave. Once in town, Pagumon tells us he finally remembers it all in a very weird info dump. He died as Antilomon, came back, failed to find a good tamer, and digivolved into Dark Agumon and Tyrannomon, before dying again right in front of our eyes. Now he only has one goal, to become Antilomon again. Of course we agree, Loga is our bestie. Back in the farm, we are wondering how to evolve Pagumon into Antilomon. And let me just say, we're a Silver Tamer. I don't understand how that's even a question. Like, sir, you've been digivolving stuff the whole damn game. Regardless, Calumon hears us and mentions that a data core crystal was just created at Chrome Mine. It affects the Digimon's evolution, but says that if we are not careful, the Digimon can lose control. Now, most of us are taught in life that there are no shortcuts to success, but I guess our main character missed the memo because he still takes Pagumon there in hopes that he'll be able to turn from in-training to ultimate. Chromine has gained some cool Digimon like Dark Lizardmon, Meteormon, and even Meowsismon. Honestly loving that we're seeing ultimates as normal enemies. Soon enough, we reach the data core. Turns out Kane and Tomomi are also there and find it first. We try to warn them of the dangers of using it, but Kane gives zero fucks and thinks we're just trying to take the thing. He gives it to his Mega Kabuterimon, which evolves into Grand Kuwagamon. The boy is happy for like 5 seconds before the Grand Kuwagamon loses control and turns on him and Tomomi. Oh gee, if only someone had warned you both of this possibility. And what's quite possibly the greatest display of courage I have ever seen in any form of interactive media ever, Kane screams and runs away, leaving the outraged Digimon to attack Tomomi. Friend of the year, everyone. Before it can attack though, Pagumon tackles it and saves Tomomi. Naturally, it's a baby Digimon against a Mega, so Pagumon's about to get his ass handed to him, until Grand Kuwagamon screams and is deleted. By sheer force of luck and protagonist powers, the energy was too much for him to handle. Seeing this, Tomomi finally sees the error of her ways and claims that she'll raise a Digimon from the beginning, this time properly, and will stop hanging out with Kane. Also gives us a piece of the core as thanks. We promptly head back to base, give the piece to Pagumon, and it works! Our baby grows up right in front of our eyes and becomes a bona fide Antilamon. He even says we're the best tamer he's ever had. See mom, I made it! I just wish we had more of this item to use on our own Digimon, because that would save a lot of grinding later on, but oh well. Just as we're celebrating, the Union sends out a very convenient email saying Chimeramon was spotted at a place called Junk Factory and should not go there. So naturally, we go there. We enter Junk Factory with our wits, our bravery, and our newly evolved Zudomon. Sorry, I just wanted an excuse to say Ikakumon had finally evolved. Anyway, the music in Junk Factory is oddly upbeat and I really like it, but it really doesn't feel like it should be the choice for a place like this. Here we can see plenty of machine-type Digimon such as Toy Agumon Black and naturally Junkmon. Also some holy Digimon like Sorcerymon? I feel like putting holy beings in a Junk Factory is probably some form of sacrilege, but oh well. The game is like 20 years old, so if the devs haven't faced divine judgment or something by now, then they're probably in the clear. Normally I don't comment on the layout, but this one's just so annoying I have to. The boss is actually close-ish to the entrance, but if you're unlucky, you're gonna run into the area's 3 colossally long, pointless dead ends before you run into the boss. There are a lot of branching paths here, which makes sense because the area returns later in the story, but for now these dead ends are just a pain. There is no pregame to the boss fight itself, no talk, no nothing. Just Tamer and Digimon hyping each other up and running straight for Chimeramon. And the fight is, well, there's no way to put this other than ridiculously easy. My Lilamon's Flower Cannon is incredibly powerful and hits all 3 zones that Chimeramon occupies. In fact, all 3 of my ultimates up front have attacks that hit all 3 zones. Chimeramon only manages to use 1 move. You see how powerful multi-hit moves are? After we make this guy regret ever being born, Antilamon finally reveals to us that in reality he lost ages ago because his tamer got too scared and ran off. Antilamon then died in the fight and was reborn feeling hatred for tamers, but now he fully regained faith. Then Unknown D pops up and reveals he put Chimeramon there, hoping Antilamon would fail again and realize humans are worthless. Since Antilamon is seen as a hero, having his support against tamers would sway masses. Or so is my theory on why Unknown D was so hell-bent on turning Antilamon anyway. Alas though, I'm the protagonist and I kicked ass, making Antilamon's faith in humans stronger than ever. Unknown D then leaves, saying that he looks forward to the day Antilamon will despair again. We head back to the city and Baihomon congratulates us and promotes us to gold rank. We meet our new observer Zukiamon, which is, well, I'll let my character describe it on my behalf. Sad huge phoenix decides to get right into it with our assignment when all hell breaks loose. Alarms start blaring and the Tentomon runs into the room. That's how you know things have gone terribly wrong. Oh yeah, and also that Telltale song. Turns out a virus is attacking the city and has disabled the gate system. Jukiamon explains that it's the same virus Azulongmon went to Sky Palace to investigate and he's yet to return, so the virus spreading does not bode well. Ebon Wumon and Baihumon both suddenly vanish, and Jukiamon and CV Angemon mention that they were probably taken by the virus. CV Angemon manages to activate an antivirus that can temporarily hold it before Jukiamon and Angemon are taken, but someone needs to go to Sky Palace to nip this crisis in the bud. Well, I guess it's time for us to do protagonist things again. Honestly, this part of the story is pretty damn cool. We're basically locked into a story sequence, unable to go anywhere but the Sky Palace, as it's the only place Jukiamon can keep open with his power. The music in the city has also permanently changed to the Everything Sucks music, instilling in us a sense of urgency. Honestly, Sky Palace is a really cool map in my opinion. The music here seems soothing and at the same time oddly celebratory. The Digimon here are bird and holy types like Diatrimon and Taomon. Sad Digimon can also hit some of my Digimon pretty hard, so the area is challenging without actually being unfair, which I appreciate. We spent a total of 15 minutes working through it before getting to the boss fight. And this boss is none other than Azulongmon himself! That's right, our very first observer is at the end of the map, screaming and throwing a tantrum, leaving us no option but to beat our former boss up. A wet dream for all of us, I'm sure. The fight goes again very well because Lilamon's flower cannon's a goddamn tactical nuke. This boss is, however, a lot more resilient than Chimeramon, and he hits like a damn truck. The game plan ended up being to just support Lilamon, and sure enough, Azulongmon went down. I really love attacks that hit 3 areas. He says he saw a mysterious tamer and then blacked out. Turns out he was infected by the virus, probably the suspicious tamer's doing, but being beaten up got the virus out of the system. If only this worked in real life, huh? We head back to the Union and find out that the virus is still active, so we go to the next outbreak spot, Tropical Isles. The new map unfortunately shares the music with a previous map, Mangrove Woods. However, the music there is great, so that softened the blows of the lack of originality. And honestly, this is just as gorgeous of a map as Mangrove, if not more. There are beaches, little hills, palm trees, ocean as far as the eye can see, and even these pineapple-like trees, they are so cute. The Digimon here are pretty cool as well, Sylphimon, Netemon, and the ever so badass Saber Leomon. So bird and beast types mainly. Soon enough we reach the boss, Ebon Wumon, our second observer. They act the same way Azulongmon did. We try to talk them out of attacking us, but it fails, so we fight back. Beating Azulongmon up did fix the issue after all, right? This fight plays out more or less like Azulongmon's fight, except this one's a bit tougher than the last. Still no match for our strategy of healing Lilamon while she does all the work though. After we wreck their shit, they say they don't remember anything after being forced out of the Union. Then a purple-haired tamer teleports behind us, complains, and then teleports out. Instead of giving chase, Ebon Wumon convinces us to return to the Union. The situation there has finally improved, with the virus clear and our ability to teleport anywhere restored to us. Still, people have no idea where Baihumon is or who the tamer is, so they start to investigate while we get sent off to rest. Except as soon as we get to the farm to rest, Yuji calls us and says all tamers are gonna talk about what happened and they want me in their little meeting. No rest for me, I guess. It's great to see so many of the tamers we met together, but no one has anything useful to say aside from Phil, who reveals that he suspects an advanced Digimon is behind the incident, as bad tamers would not be able to take over the 4 beasts, also known as the 4 observers, by themselves. We speculate that this advanced Digimon is Unknown D, but we have no way to make sure. So what's decided for now is that tamers will all patrol around and try to stop issues from happening. Then the meeting is called off. I go home taking care to talk to our friends on the way and... Oh come on Ellie, stop saying I'm a trouble magnet, damn it. It is true though, but still, damn it. We head straight to the farm after that due to emotional distress, only to find out that we have a call. Apparently there are a bunch of bad tamers wreaking havoc in Junk Factory and all the idiots in the meeting are patrolling the wrong map, so we are the only free tamer to deal with this bullcrap. The Digimon in Junk Factory have been, as is the rule at this point, updated. The enemy roster now even includes some megas such as Prince Mamamon and Puppetmon, which is awesome, I love Puppetmon. That being said, not even these Digimon are enough to improve the utter pain that is this area. Allow me to explain. Shortly after entering, before we even reach the first branching path, we find a duo of bad tamers, Yoshiki and Alicia, with Yoshiki being the one that showed up at Ebon Wumon's location when we beat them up. Naturally, the guy recognizes us and wants revenge, so we fight. So far, so good, especially because this is the first fight we've had against an actual human, which is exciting. He uses 2 Metal Mamamon and 1 High Andromon, but they go down super easily. The problem starts after they get beaten up and go away in a Grun Locomon. I have no idea where they went, and rationalizing that they couldn't possibly have gone back to the same spot as Chimera-mon, I explored the entire damn factory, all dead ends included. Then I checked the boss spot and lo and behold, there they are. I'll take that L to be honest, as we've had the precedent of a new boss inhabiting the old boss's spot with Devimon and Platinum Sukamon respectively, so I have no idea why I didn't see that as a possibility. But the pain came afterwards. Those cowards put up a barrier preventing us from entering the boss location, and the only way to get rid of it was to, get this, find and beat 3 tamers in the junk factory. Their locations are fairly obvious, especially considering I just ran the entire map. There are 3 very long dead ends, and sure enough, each one contained 1 tamer. But I just spent 15 minutes running around like a headless chicken looking for Grand Locomon, and I visited all dead ends, not to mention the absurd amounts of random battles. Now the game is telling me I have to do it again for key codes? Why the fuck did you not place the bad tamers in these locations before? What difference would it have made if we had gotten the key codes before finding the barrier? So because of this bullcrap, I got to spend 20 more minutes roaming around this dumb map. God, I hate it when games do this. The 3 tamer battles themselves look scary, like this one with a Macdramon, Lady Devimon and Parazimon, but they all die pretty quickly, especially due to my pocket nuke Lilamon. After 20 minutes, we get inside the boss room and are treated to this cutscene.
Surprise, motherfucker!
When faced with such peril, what did they decide to do? The only logical thing really, throw the entire damn locomotive at us. Honestly, I can see this fight being tough. The guy buffs himself and hits like a train. However, he really doesn't last long enough to cause me trouble. Lilamon really does feel like cheating. After we beat Grand Locomon, Yuji and Kazuya arrive, claiming that they've caught the other 3 bad tamers and are now here for backup. Too little too late, my friends. Without any chance to escape, Yoshiki and Alicia surrender and get taken to the Union. 5 bad tamers obtained. Although I have to say, I wonder why Yoshiki didn't just teleport away again like he did when we faced Ebon Wumon. But you know, back to the topic at hand. In the Union, the 2 are getting grilled by the observers. Alicia gives up the location of their boss, claiming it's pointless to go because we'll get beaten up anyway. Now allow me to paint you a picture. Remember how Phil was saying that he thinks Unknown D is behind the Bad Tamers? Thus, it is a possibility that Unknown D and the Bad Tamers boss are one and the same. And the boss is located in Hard Mountain. In other words, Unknown D may be hiding in the Hard Mountain. I'm really trying to not be immature here, but come on, this game is making that task really hard to accomplish. Before we go to Hard Mountain though, we end up doing some quests. Normally, we don't cover quests in depth, but this one was just hilarious. We are asked to find Digimilk, and obviously we ask where the heck we're supposed to find the milk. And the guy goes, I don't know dude, a cow? Minotauromon looks like a cow, so go find him. And what? Milk a dude? We find one and it goes about as well as expected. We eventually find Digimilk laying around though. Sorry for trying to milk you, Mr. Minotaur. With all that done, we enter the Hard Mountains. The place has really calming music actually, and is inhabited by Aquan Digimon like Icemon and Machine Digimon like Andromon. Visually, it's nothing special, just a glacier type thing, but the map has a gimmick. It can transform into a whole new map. You can pull a Mario and jump into a pipe, which puts you in an underwater map called Undersea Drive. The music is shared with the top half, but the Digimon change to a bunch of Vacuum stuff like Divermon, Wamon, and even Metal Seedramon. After working your way through the entire thing, you'll make it to BT boss. The dude's shocked we got through the tough Digimon on the way here, which is honestly insulting. Guy calls upon his boss Unknown D and they bring out their ace, Baihomon. This fight is honestly awesome. I mean, look at this guy's sprites. All three of my guys deal absolutely humongous damage to the point where Baihomon goes down without being able to attack once, which is a waste of an awesome sprite. Wish I could tell you more about the fight, but alas, it be what it be. After the fight, Unknown D runs away and so does BT boss. Baihomon chases the former while we chase the latter. We corner BT boss, but he's like, "Ha, fool, I'm not trapped with you, you're trapped with me." Not a quote, but you know, same energy. He says that they control a Giga Seedramon there and calls upon it to attack us. Except, nothing of the sort happens. Instead, a Marine Angemon shows up behind the guy and we're like, wait, that's it? He confirms proudly before turning around and becoming very confused. Through peeps that I have no idea how the boss could decipher, Marine Angemon tells him that there was a Seedramon there, but that this is Marine Angemon's nap spot, so it kicked the Seedramon's ass to get it back. Based, honestly. Astonished with the power, BT boss resorts to the only logical strategy, lies and deceit. God damn it, you gotta listen to both sides of a story before taking action, dude. The fight against Marine Angemon is refreshing. For the first time in ages, we get a boss that only occupies one zone. Unfortunately, I can again not speak too much about the fight because I beat it extremely easily. I can say though that Marine Angemon looks cute as heck, look at it! After the fight, we use a very convincing argument on Marine Angemon. Ignoring the fact that our character and this Marine Angemon probably both think all goth folks are evil, this is enough to help the Digimon come to its senses. BT boss then fucks off with a wormhole, but not before saying he'd get us back for this. Baihomon arrives shortly afterwards and says that Unknown D got away too. Back at the Union, everyone's concerned not only with BT boss's final words, but also with the whole wormhole dealio. Turns out very few Digimon, like CV Angemon, can create a wormhole to teleport around, meaning we are likely dealing with someone very powerful. Someone that hates humans. Someone that's in the same level as CV Angemon and likely were buddies with him. If only there was a logical option that ticked all these boxes. The topic shifts to how the BT boss planned on getting retribution, but it turns out we wouldn't have to ponder for long. The guy himself arrives in the Union and uses an item called the Evil Ring to paralyze all the Digimon, and then takes Yukiyamon hostage, infected with the same virus as the others. He calls us a nuisance, which is quite frankly very hurtful, and says that if we want Yukiyamon back, we should head alone to Lava River. My question here is, sure, Digimon could not move, but we could. Did people in Digimon games just forget they can throw punches or something? Oh well, off we go to Lava River. The music here is sinister and instills in us a sense of foreboding and urgency. I dig it. The area itself I dig a little bit less. Mainly purple floors surrounded by lava and brown hills everywhere. Not my thing. The Digimon, however, were much more my thing. Dragon types like Cyberdramon and plenty of dark types like Piedmon, Creepymon, and Mummymon, which is arguably the best of the bunch. I mean, look at it, it carries a rifle! It's very accurate to the old Egyptian customs of burying their royalty and pharaohs with their favorite firearms. That was a thing, right? We don't have much time to enjoy the sight though, as soon enough we reach BT boss. His team is made of 3 holy Digimon, Guardiangemon, Seraphmon, and Cherubimon Good. Again, I can't say much because all 3 went down without ever being able to move. That was just the pregame though, as Yukiyamon himself was next. And let me tell you, this guy looks sick in battle. Unlike his predecessors, he actually gets to do a bit, but I really do mean just a bit. His attacks barely do any damage, and we deal a shit ton of damage in return as he occupies 3 zones. Well, almost all of us do a shit ton of damage. Shame on you, Metal Greymon. We beat him and Yukiyamon screams, making both our character and BT boss spin in place. Wild, I know. The shockwave is so strong that it makes BT boss lose his disguise. Turns out he's Kane. As Kalumon once said, Jukemon tries to ask if he knows why he lost, but the guy's like, yeah, my Digimon are a bunch of weaklings. I mean, true, but pretty sure the answer the Phoenix wanted was that you didn't befriend your Digimon or something cheesy like that. Back at base, we get promoted to Platinum rank. Turns out CV Angemon is the observer for the elites of the elites, and our first order from him is to go beat people up in the arena. Cool. Meanwhile, however, Kane is about to be forcefully transported back into the real world when Unknown D talks to him and gives him another chance, teleporting him away to give him the best power possible. Oof, this does not bode well. The arena is very easy, and this isn't me being overleveled, this is the arena actually being easy. The first round is against level 20 and 30 Agumon evolutions. The second is against 3 level 30 armor evolutions, which do look really cool to be honest. The third one is the only one I can see ever being challenging, with a huge leap in level to 40s and 57s, including my favorite Digimon ever, Gallantmon. It pained me to beat it up, but we did so without too much trouble. After facing off against all 4 observers, I really don't get how this is a test of our strength, but oh well, at least we got to see Flamedramon and Magnamon, both of which are some of my favorite designs. We head back to CV Angemon, who congratulates us, but also tells us to be careful because Platinum Tamers have started to disappear. Yuji vanished, so did Kazuya. We decide to investigate what's happening, but before we can start, we get a call from a panicked Kalumon telling us to rush back to the farm immediately. Turns out Unknown D is there and finally reveals his true form. Drumroll please! It's Alphamon. Quick everyone, act shocked. He claims he needs the power of all the strongest tamers, and we are absolutely required to. As you know, we are the protagonist. He uses his power to freeze us and starts to take control of our body, but before he can finish the process, CV Angemon arrives and heals us. Alphamon reveals he's only doing this because all humans lust for power and cannot be trusted. Backed into a wall, he now plans to awaken an Ultra Digimon and destroy the digital world. CV Angemon attacks and they both clash, falling down right afterwards. Very rude of them to do so on my farm. Can you imagine the damage 2 Mega Digimon clashing does to your lawn? Before we can ask for compensation though, Alphamon steals the light of Digivolution power from Kalumon and leaves. CV Angemon, still weakened, entrusts us with stopping Alphamon by going to Corefield in the purple portal where CV Angemon stood the entire damn game. We'll stop him alright, but when we get back we will talk about my lawn. And finally we get to Corefield. Have I mentioned that this is the last area of the game? If not, there you go, this is the last area of the main story. Song-wise, I dig it, it has some great beats. Looks-wise, this area also pleases me. You are literally walking on what seems like ships and motherboards, which makes sense as it's related to the core of the digital world. As far as Digimon goes, we get some cool machine and bird stuff here. Hyandramon, Parazimon, and Yatakaramon are some examples. Literally 2 minutes into our adventure through the place, we find one of the missing Platinum Tamers. She's being controlled by Alphamon and attacks us with a Gigadramon and Creepymon, both of which go down in one move. Turns out beating her up makes her come to her senses. Doctors hate this simple trick. Shortly afterwards, we find Kazuya in the same situation as the previous girl. His team looks super intimidating with 2 Venom Yotismon and 1 Kirubimon evil, but they all go down. At the end of the area, we finally find Yuji. He uses Black Mega Gargomon and Imperial Dramon, whom I dearly love. After Yuji leaves to recover, we proceed and find the actual boss of the zone, Armageddon. This fight is very easy, nothing to say really. After being beaten, the Digimon disappears and a gate appears in its place. We bet Alphamons on the other side, save the game and step in. And yeah, if we were a betting man, we'd be winning life right now. Not only is Alphamon on the other side, but so is Kane, under mind control of course, and the power plant. Alphamon explains that inside the plant is Chronomon Destroy Mode, the Ultra Digimon. Turns out though, much like a bratty kid throwing a tantrum, Chronomon refuses to take orders. Alphamon also starts throwing a tantrum saying that this isn't fair because the duo gave the Ultra Digimon life. Boo-hoo! Chronomon gives no fucks though and releases a shockwave from inside his little chamber that knocks Kane out flat and weakens Alphamon. CV Angemon then arrives, saying that Chronomon reflects its tamer's heart, and as it was awakened by Cain under Alphamon's influence, it only knows hatred. This is no legendary Digimon, it's a machine of rage and destruction who will bring ruin to the digital world. Alphamon says this is impossible and implies that this is not what he wanted. You lying piece of shit! Nonetheless, the guy jumps in to try to stop Chronomon. Angemon tries to help, but both of them get wrecked in one hit. Angemon says that their only hope is the bond between Tamer and Digimon. Yeah, Alphamon, I agree, this sounds ridiculous and a little bit above our pay grade, but you know, sure. If we're all gonna die, might as well give it a shot, right? Turns out our fight is not even against Chronomon, but rather against the pods powering the main chamber to hopefully stop the rebirth process. I'm really not too worried about this fight, as everything to this point has been incredibly easy, so I'm sure this will be too. Oh wow, what a great day to have a reality check. Now let me tell you about this damn fight. As you saw, the pods are incredibly tanky, so that's already a lousy start. But soon enough, you'll find out that they buff each other, are pretty speedy, have lots of big damage multi-hit moves, and worst of all, can make your whole team confused, which skips entire turns. Get unlucky enough with that and you just die without being able to fight back. Thankfully though, that doesn't happen to me, and the battle turns out to be easier than I expected, even if still very challenging. Using lots of our healing items, we kill them off one by one and eventually win the whole thing. Turns out, however, we beat the healing plant way too late and Chronomon DM is reborn, proudly proclaiming he will destroy everything except for himself. We tell him we won't let him do that and he tells us to shut up. Real mature, my guy. Then we battle. Are those railguns for wings? This guy looks really cool. He also occupies, thankfully, 3 zones, so with 3 times the damage we should be able to pull... Oh bloody hell, what the fuck is this damage? Damn right you will do better next time, because it's time to grind. After some hours grinding, everyone's now in their mega forms except for goddamn Spooks because, well, look at his stats. Does this look like a level 40 Digimon stats? I'm pretty sure the game somehow glitched when degenerating him originally and I just never realized it. This is more or less unfixable, so I had to dump Spooks and recruit Yatakaramon for the team. We get to the final boss and unfortunately we have to start the whole sequence all over again. The pod fight is a lot easier this time around, but it's not the fight I was worried about. Chronomon DM fight starts and let me tell you, I am sweating. His most powerful move, Corona, is still an incredibly powerful move, make no mistake. In fact, this whole fight is a major issue, with my Digimon dying left and right. The battle is so intense that my game even starts glitching out. Alas though, I managed to beat the guy thanks to perseverance, the power of friendship, and the shit ton of healing items I bought before attempting again. So really, when you think about it, capitalism is the one that really saved the day. Upon losing the fight, Chronomon turns into holy mode and thanks us for freeing it from the dark energy that had taken hold of it. Alphamon finally understands that humans do have flaws, but so do Digimon, and that both must work together to become stronger, much like Chronomon became its true self thanks to us. Cain also wakes up and claims to finally understand that Digimon can only reach their true potential with human partners that care for them. CV Angemon is super proud, so much so that Cain asks for a second chance and gets granted one.
Bruh.
Imagine trying to destroy the whole digital world and still being given a second chance. But surely Alphamon will face consequences, right? Oh come on Angemon, grow a spine, the guy literally said he wanted to destroy the world. Well, be right back folks, I'm going on a murder spree. I'm sure if I just say I'm sorry you guys, the cops will let me return to finish this video. Meanwhile, Chronomon leaves to go on a slumber to rest from the dark energy and we teleport back to the Union. There, we get promoted to Tamer King with all other Tamers we've come to know and maybe love, including Tomomi and Cain, saying they'll reach our level someday. We then get the credits. The end. Or is it? Well, actually it is. The main story ends here, but this game actually has a pretty interesting post-game, consisting of 2 main things that I'm aware of. Chronomon and the 7 Great Demon Lords. You might be wondering why you're seeing footage of me working my way through Corefield again, and the answer is quite simple. If you return to where Chronomon was, you can fight its holy mode and get its scan data should you win. The second bit of meaty post-game content is quest number 60, the Great Demon Lords. It's a quest that requires you to beat the Masaru, Toma, and Yoshino quest lines, as well as have 15 Mega Digimon in your party, farm, or bank. As such, before this footage you're seeing now, I spent over 4 hours going through previously explored maps and gathering 100% scan data for several Mega Digimon, such as Digimon and Babamon. These two are the main real bits of post-game content, which is why we'll explore them in this video, starting with Chronomon. As soon as we reach it, it just invites us to fight. I don't expect it to be a pushover, but I'm sure I can pull it off, right? Yeah, it was one of those fights. It lasted for over 10 minutes, but we won. Chronomon only occupies one zone, meaning no double or triple damage shenanigans. Not only that, but it also only uses multi-zone moves, most of them having the potential to hit all your Digimon. If you don't have well-trained Digimon that can take hits, then you're not gonna have a good time in this fight. When you get through it though, Chronomon will acknowledge you as a good tamer and join you, so hooray for that great reward. Of course, we head straight back to base to digiconvert Chronomon, but as it turns out, fate had other plans in store. That's right, the 7 Great Demon Lords have decided they want to take over the digital world and are giving us a chance to stop them. After all, if they manage to beat the Tamer King, no other Tamer will manage to stand up to them. Or so is the logic anyway. The thing is, we can't tell anyone, else they'll launch a simultaneous attack and wreck the world. Then Kalumon asks the fatidic question: will we rise up to the challenge? Funny how the music instantly changes back to calm music and he goes, oh, okay, cool, let's just ignore this then. And then every time you enter the farm you get a new challenge. I'm just picturing the 7 Great Demon Lords feverishly writing letters like, why won't Senpai notice us? Regardless, we need to get the video done, so we accept the second challenge invitation. The way this quest works is basically a round robin with all Demon Lords. Each one is in a map and you must go there and beat them up. Easy, right? Well, we'll see about that. First up is Diamond at Hard Mountain. Nothing really is said before the fight or after, and that goes for most of these. Just standard trash talk and, oh, I'll get you for this sort of stuff. The fight itself is a breath of fresh air after Chronomon, and by that I mean that it's extremely easy even though it's higher level. Dude occupies 3 zones and takes a metric crap ton of damage without dealing barely anything in return. We dispose of him and get a call from Biozamon, who's the next Demon Lord waiting for us at Sky Palace. Now let me just say, I love Biozamon, but he's weak as heck. He only occupies 1 zone, and a single hit took out over half of his HP, and I'm not even exaggerating. In fact, as I say all this, I'm not even sure if there will be enough battle footage to last this paragraph, as Barbamon says after we beat Biozamon. Anyway, Barbamon's next, located in Lava River. While he occupies 3 zones, which is a blessing, he also has the ability to put everyone in your party to sleep. Again though, if you cleared Chronomon Holy Mode, this shouldn't be a problem. Lilithmon then calls us saying she's waiting for us at Tropical Isles. Time to fight, I mean, sure, I'll take a spanking from you any day. Sorry, I meant, you shall go down, evildoer. And go down she did. Lilithmon killed my Rosemon, but still took way too much damage from the moves I used. She also occupied 2 zones, so twice as much damage each turn. Before long, she was gone and we were receiving a call from Leviamon, who claimed to be waiting at Undersea Drive. This absolute unit occupies 4 zones, and he looks awesome! Look at him! I love his design so much! And this guy actually wrecks my life. Not only does he have many multi-hit moves, but he can also buff his own attack, oftentimes dealing almost 1k with each hit. We finally beat him though, and Lucimon Chaos Mode is next, waiting at Corefield. He is a lot easier than Leviamon, weirdly enough. Dude takes way more damage, is a lot slower and just doesn't deal as much damage. Oh well, after the hell we went through with the previous Demon Lord, I'll take a free win on this one. We finally get a call from Belphemon who tells us to find him at Destroyed Belt. That's right, we're unlocking the final map in this game. The music here is generic, but the map is great. It's divided into 4 wildly different areas. Area 1 has green rocks and paths alongside purple ladders. There you can find all sorts of Digimon. The Dark type Gulmon Black, the insect Grunquagamon, the beast Mega Gargomon Black. List goes on as every subsection tends to add at least one more Digimon to the mix. Area 2, for example, an orange forest with purple pathways, has Metal Etamon. Area 3, a beach with purple water and blue grass and palm trees, adds Dark Dramon. Then in Zone 4, which are basically ruins with purple floor, Venom Miotismon is added to the roster of enemies. Zone 4 also contains a Data Squad folks, which is why they were a prerequisite quest, who were there to fight Belphemon but got demolished. They ask us to stop the Digimon and we obviously agree. At the end of Zone 4 we find the guy and honestly, our character just straight up tells him we're gonna kill him. I appreciate the energy, especially given you're about to get your ass handed to you on a silver platter protagonist. Oh wait, that's a spoiler. Belphemon then brings back all the Demon Lords I killed but stronger. Basically, if we want to get to Belphemon, we have to get through all other 6 Great Demon Lords again, in 7 total fights in a row. Scary, but still, I've gotten this far and I won't back down now. Time to kick some ass. How in the ever-loving god is this even possible? What the fuck? Turns out these guys are no longer the pushovers we fought. Oh no. They're all level 99 and incredibly freaking powerful. Given how insane the power difference is, we decide to go back to the basics. And by that I really do mean basics. Take a look at this. Since Chronomon can't degenerate and has a level cap of 99, I figure I can level him up to be part of the team and degen and retrain the rest of the squad. And in fact, doing this once got me closer to beating the Demon Lords, but it was still not enough and I had to go for a second round. Overall, I spent over 7 hours grinding my Digimon just to finish this quest. At the end though, we did it. With this much grinding, even Belphemon himself didn't stand a chance, turning into basically a normal 3-zone monster fight with how powerful I became. This victory does beg the question, however, was it worth it? If you were playing Digimon World DS now, should you go through the same ordeal I did just to get this quest done? Well, I'm not sure I would recommend it actually. If you want a sense of pride and accomplishment, or if you're making a humongous YouTube retrospective, then yeah, sure, go for it. But this is the final challenge of the game, harder than anything else. If you top this, there's nothing else to top. You get neat rewards in the scam code for Biozamon and Kalomon, but there's nothing to even use them on. That being said, I don't regret doing so. For me, it's always fun to know that I'm more powerful than anything else within a game. And if you do make it to completion, congratulations, you've managed to get through Digimon World DS. I guess now only one question remains. Was this game actually good? Playing 17 years after its release, I think I can safely say that yes, it was. But it's also undeniable that it has lots of issues, like my damn Zudomon losing all its stats upon degenerating, damn it. I think though, if there's one thing that would stop a person from playing this game, it would be the amount of grinding involved. And it's not just the grind, but rather it's how the game does its damn best to make grinding take even longer than it should, resulting in a repetitive and frankly quite boring loop for lots of people. The gameplay and the battle systems are overall fine. In fact, I would even call them good. I love walking around and fighting Digimon. The areas are often gorgeous to look at and the Digimon designs themselves are incredibly good. All of that goes doubly so for boss fights, some of which you get to abuse cool strategies like the multi-hit moves to deal massive damage. The way positioning matters and the way you have to think about your attacks with that trait in mind is genuinely awesome. That being said, everything surrounding said gameplay elements is just not great. The core of Digimon's already slightly grindy, forcing you to degenerate and retrain your Digimon if you want to reach new higher levels and achieve your mega forms. But then you add stuff like the game's final boss, which is a brick wall for lots of people, like it was in my playthrough. Then its holy mode, and especially the final gauntlet against the Great Demon Lords, and you find yourself in need to grind for potentially over 10 hours just to make it through the game. And then you find yourself actually doing it, and it just gets really old really fast. Sure, most of this is optional, but the Chronomon DM fight isn't, and chances are you'll have to grind quite a bit for that, and maybe some other harder encounters during the story. The first contributing factor to the tedium is the start of the battles. Every time you start a fight, you get to watch the scan animation for each of your foes. Then, when the fight actually begins, you'll be watching every animation for every attack you use. As you fight hundreds of Digimon to grind, these second-long time wastes add up to minutes, and perhaps even hours. You can grind by doing quests too, but if you accomplish a goal and you want to get back to town quickly, well, tough luck because there's no teleportation item, forcing you to walk all the way back. And heck, if you just want to do the quest without fighting, well, again, tough luck, the game throws you a random battle at every 10 steps and there's no repel-like item. While fighting a lot is needed because the game becomes a giant stat check at the end, it doesn't make it any less of a pain to deal with. All of these annoyances come together to make Digimon World DS a very grindy game that tries to make your time grinding as much of a pain as possible, and this will turn away lots of people. But hey, all of this at least makes Digimon World DS kinda the perfect podcast game, right? Another aspect that annoyed me were the Digivolution paths in this game. Aside from very stable stuff like Agumon to Greymon, the Digimon games always change Digivolutions around, with the same Digimon becoming entirely different stuff depending on which game you're playing. But Digimon World DS takes it one step further with lots of evolution paths just gone. Take a look at Capurimon's line for example. Kotemon can evolve into a Digimon that ends its line at Champion, and both Hagurumon and Pon Chessmon Black have lines that can end in Ultimate. Story-wise, you can see that this is more or less a game for kids. I feel like the most interesting story beat was Spagomon's tale, and in a world in which creatures are constantly being reborn, it does make one wonder if you should be held accountable for your past life sins. Aside from that, everything felt very predictable. It was still very satisfying to see it through though, and I often anticipated getting to the next story boss to see what sort of awesome design would get thrown my way. Plus, I really don't feel like the story is the reason lots of people have played or will play Digimon World DS, but rather to go on an adventure, whether good or bad, with their favorite Digimon. I know that was the case for me anyway. But for all criticisms that I may have, some of which are quite severe, like my damn Zudomon losing all its stats, which I will never stop complaining about, I still absolutely adore this game. I already sung the art and the Digimon design's praises, but I have so much more to metaphorically sing about. The soundtrack is great, the areas you explore themselves are very visually varied, which I love, and perhaps my favorite feature is that areas are upgraded as you return to them. Even if it doesn't give us new ground to explore in said previous areas, it still updates the Digimon roster, giving us even more grinding opportunities and chances to find more of our favorite Digimon. I also really appreciate that the quests aren't actually needed, nor do they gauge your progress like some other games do. I do wish they were a bit more interesting, but oh well, at least you still get gems like the Digimilk one. One last thing that I simply couldn't fit anywhere else in this video was that the game also had online elements which were pretty cool actually. You could fight other tamers, but the most interesting thing is that you could match your Digimon with other people's Digimon to form eggs. Not the Digi-eggs that allow you to armor Digivolve a Digimon, but rather actual eggs that hatch into creatures. Unfortunately, Nintendo DS online services are long gone, so unless you use action replay cheats or something, some Digimon will forever be unobtainable. My personal favorite stuck behind the system is Chaos Galantmon, which required the match of Black Lord Greymon and Black Mega Gargomon. While Digimon World DS may have its issues, at the end of my 30 or so hour journey, with over 10 of those being just grinding mind you, I found that the game absolutely stood the test of time. If you are a fan of the series and have nostalgia for it, or even just want a neat introduction to Digimon, you can't go wrong with this game. Just, you know, keep your next Netflix series playing on your phone because you will need it occasionally. And wow, that's it for this colossal retrospective of Digimon World DS. This took me a long time to make, and if you did get any enjoyment out of the video, then my mission has been accomplished. All I humbly ask in return is that you consider leaving feedback. It's my first time doing a thorough retrospective, and while I did love the process, I'm sure there are things I can improve upon. And if you want more content, well, I don't have anything Digimon related, but I do have some Pokemon related content that will be on screen right now, so feel free to check those out. And unless people really hate this video or something, you'll probably take a look at the other Digimon games too, so you may want to stick around for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you hopefully in the next video. Bye bye!